Street cred sports. Street cred sports. I'm crossing over. I'm Euro stepping.
Hi, so what is going on with your game? Is your game where it needs to be? Well, if it's not, we have something for you. It's called a Virtual Hoopers HQ. With the Virtual Hoopers HQ community, you're going to be able to get live one-on-one questions. You're going to be able to get into webinars. We have all kinds of drills, different trainings we'll have on there for you. It's a community of ballers. So if you're interested, see the link after below and be able to look at signing up. Hello, this is Keenan of Street Cred Sports, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. We're back. Got my man back.
Yeah, I'm here.
He was out of town. I tried to do it last week. I was supposed to do it, and something got in the way. So I don't know if he had some voodoo doll. Like, yo, no, you ain't doing no damn podcast while I'm not here. I don't know what it was.
I don't do voodoo, but I know a specific set of people that can disrupt the program.
I was like, yo, I'm supposed to do it. I was gonna do it here, then I was gonna do it at home. And it's like next thing you know, it's like, man, I don't even have no time to do it. And I was like, I'll just wait. And then when I was talking to him, he was like, good. I'm glad, because
absolutely,
you gotta wait for me to get back.
Man.
I was like, man, maybe put some rooks on me or something.
Boy, trying to cut me out,
you
man.
do. You kind of have a little Creole in you, I guess.
I might have a couple more strands of hair if I had some Creole in me.
So, look, we hope everybody's doing well. Staying safe with all this crazy weather everywhere. It's not as dusty and windy up here today, but let me knock on wood, because I think it's supposed to be coming back.
For sure. I'm all tired of that.
So, without further ado, let's get into some things that interest us. So, first thing we want to talk about is the Lakers. Right now, it's just hot because, Lakers just lost. And I was the one telling people that as good as it was going to be to have Luka, it was still going to be the same problem. But to me, it was going to be a bigger issue, because with the Lakers, offensively, you're going to be able to, get your shots, right? Between those three, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, and Luka, right? But it's on the defensive side is where the problem is, because those three guys aren't known defenders. Even LeBron, back in his heyday, I don't know if he ever, I'm sure you'll know because you keep tabs. Was he ever defensive MVP? I'm just asking. But he was on some defensive all teams though, right? I'm sure he was.
I don't think so.
Okay,
He's very minimal.
All right, well,
one thing he did well was he played off the ball defense.
Off the ball
Steals,
defense, blocks, that stuff. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, incredible. On the ball, I seen him defend, but not like lock up. But
and you know what? Just being honest, early on he had to do so much.
Yeah,
it was unfair.
Yeah,
just being honest, it was really unfair.
Wait a minute. Is that you giving him some?
Man, I'm just honest. I just go about what I see. I mean, it was unfair for him to do everything.
Yeah.
He was rebounding. He was, had most assists, leading in scoring, steals. So I mean, he was doing a lot for his team.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and as you get older, you gotta kind of pick your battles and stuff. But
True.
All three of them, I guess if I was to rank, I don't even know who's the best defender of those three, because they all look bad. But here's where I'm going with it. Most of the time, when you have 5 players, you typically might have one guy on that team or a girl who's maybe a weaker link. So if you have one person that's not really as good as defense, maybe gets beat a lot, you can work around, sometimes hide that person, but you know that, hey, if they're picking on them, you're going to shade heavily, to that side to make sure you pick up the slack, and then there's a defensive rotation and stuff. Right. When you have 2 defensive problems, it becomes harder.
It's difficult.
Right? It's very difficult when you have 2 players that don't play strong defense at all. When you have 3, it's not just the initial point of attack defense. It's the help defense. Right. And then sometimes it's the helper defense. Right. So you got all kinds of problems when you have 3 people who can't play defense when it needs to be. I think it was 3 issues with them. Okay. The defenders that I just mentioned. Okay. I have no idea why Jackson Hayes didn't play heavy minutes. The beginning of this, the regular season he was playing. He looked good with the rim running and everything. Mm-hmm. Now, Jackson Hayes seems to get kind of mental. He has some little dust ups and he had some low IQ plays, and then he was complaining about it. I don't know if that was the reason why he was keeping him out, but if you've been playing him all of this time, you can play him in certain instances. Look, when the Warriors were in there during their dynasty, they played small ball, but they really didn't play it the whole game. Right. They started out with bigs. Right. Now they finished small, but they had their bigs sprinkled in, for the most part. Absolutely. I feel like you could have played him some.
Yeah, I agree on that, but when you get into the playoffs, especially a win or go home game, it's all about trust. And so you're going to go with who you trust. I think Jackson Hayes has had plenty of time to get his motor up to really hone. In my opinion, I think LeBron and Luka make the game very easy. Very easy.
Yeah, offensively, yeah.
Right, make the game very easy. So, I think for him, his scoring builds up his energy, which equates to better defense for him, which it should not be, because he's a big guy he is there literally to get people open, catch lobs, and defend the rim.
And if that's all, look, Luka's going to get you the ball on the rim runs. He's going to. He can make me get lobs on rim runs. That's just how good and talented he is when he's doing. So if that's all you're doing, you're putting pressure on them to have to account for him. And think about it. When you have lob threats, it condenses the defense. So now those passes out to the 3 in the corner or the wing, those become even more wide open. Absolutely. But if there's no rim threat, lob threat, they're going to play that pass out to that wing or corner is going to be, more contested. So I didn't understand it. And now when you say trust, they trusted him all the way up until the first game of the playoffs. How the hell does that happen? You were trusting him all of the regular season. His minutes didn't drop those last 3 or 5 games of the regular season. Right. He was still playing heavily minutes when he wasn't hurt or sick.
And I really don't understand it. I think it's not like he was guarding a huge threat in Gobert.
Yeah, although he looked like Will Chamberlain the last game 5, boy.
that was unreal. Catching.
He was jumping. He was looking like he was Shaq, had to say it.
Dominant and him do not go together at all.
It did last night.
But he played well.
Yes, he did.
He played really well.
Yeah.
For me, I think the better teams, even the Lakers when they won their last championship, they had a plethora of bigs. You want a trio. You want a trio of bigs. And I honestly think they were going to, early in the season, they were going to get Dwight Howard until he came up with some troubles and things of that nature. And so, because I think he could really teach Hayes, kind of the small nuances of being not just a serviceable big, but a high-level elite big. Right. Because those guys make big money.
Right. You don't have to take the ball, have 3 drop step moves, 3 different post moves.
Days are gone.
No, you just have to do what you do well.
Absolutely.
Derek Lively and Gafford, they did what they did well.
That's a perfect example.
And it caused the defense problems. Now, obviously, Boston was different defensively because they had 5 guys. Everybody came in, knew how to rotate and stuff, and take certain things away. But you're going to give up something, right? And that's what happened. So those were 2 issues. Now, the last one, I have to put on the coach. And I heard different, conversations and stuff. He's a genius and stuff. Sometimes smart people do dumb things.
Completely.
And I think he did not playing your bench at all for game. Was it game 4? Was it game 3 or game 4? I think it was game 4. You don't play your bench at all the second half. You're rolling with a 40-year-old guy for the whole entire half. You can tell he was tired. Yeah. So the fact that you don't have a way, you got all of these other smart coaches who've been established. You can't figure out ways to get guys in to steal 3 minutes here, 5 minutes there, just to give guys a breather. Right. And then on game 5, you bring Max Kleber in, who hasn't played a game since January. This is his first game with the Lakers. They said he hadn't even gotten into scrimmage mode. He had a couple of workouts.
I mean, we really, especially in this country, we really have to stop really putting that label on people so fast. And we need to be a little bit more patient. When you say a genius, don't tell me I'm a genius at drawing up plays. Like when you're a genius, you need to be a genius as a head coach.
Right.
Because when you move into that seat, life is different.
Right.
Very different.
Yeah.
And so I think he will learn from that. I think he has some great intentions on being great, but I just don't think he's there yet. I really don't.
No, and I think you'll see, only time's going to tell is like, if I'm going to really look at it, I'm going to say, well, Darvin Ham took him to the Western Conference Final his first year. You got eliminated in the first round as a higher seed. Who's the better coach, right? I mean, it's that kind of stuff. I don't want to compare. I'm just saying like somebody would say that.
That's a great point.
But, you go with this 2-3 zone where you're not letting anybody, in. And I had a friend who's like, he's a really big Luka and Lakers fan. And I told him, man, that defense is a house of cards. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, it looks good. I said, look at who they're doing it against. Mm-hmm. Now, the 2 games that they did it that made me say, well, maybe, was when they played OKC and when they played Denver. Now, what I was talking about is, hey, that's good for one-time thing. But in a series, there are adjustments.
Absolutely. And series, people can really dissect. First of all, they've seen you all year.
Yeah.
So they're dissecting and picking apart. And then, on the wing, they had LeBron. They call it smoke. He was acting like he was going to double. So, again, what's my man's name for Minnesota? I drew a blank.
Anthony Edwards. Yeah.
Anthony Edwards read it and said, okay, I know what you're doing. You're stunting. So he came in like he was going to stunt. So as he pulled back, he left, he attacked that gap.
Right.
He attacked that gap.
Right.
And so then everything opened up for either him to score. He had his shooters were wide open. And so, you really have to have guys that are there intentionally to guard, at a high level, at an elite level.
Right.
And so, it's important to use your bench even if you may not trust them just for the rest piece.
Yeah.
Because you have an older guy.
Yeah.
You have a Luka who's kind of banged up. You have a Luka that you really need to hide on defense.
Yeah.
Because defensively, he is non-existent.
Yeah.
He is non-existent.
There was this guy on this radio show, on the XL radio, NBA, and he's like, well, he was doing his thing, but he was hurt. And then the other guy was like, he wasn't hurt on offense. He was still, you know what? And it reminded me. I know I'll have to make sure I plug Twan in. That was one time we were playing at, I think it was, I want to say it was Memorial, but we could have been in Don Haskins, during the summer playing. Right. And he was like, and he like hurt. And I was like, you all right? He's like, oh man. And then we got the rebound. He was like, dog. And I was like, and I threw him the ball and I'm looking up like, dog, aren't you hurt? He went down there and did his thing.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So you only hurt on defense.
Shout out Antoine Gillespie, my man.
So that's the way it was with Luka. Yo, he's scoring points, but he ain't playing defense. And it's just like he's getting killed right now, right? And it's like, look, that's who he is. So what the Mavericks did is they put enough tough pieces around him to where he was the only person. The problem is that last night was how he played in the finals against Boston, where he wasn't even giving effort.
He didn't try.
If he would, like, there were times where you see him like moving his feet, trying to cut him off and stuff. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is, look, man, all we need you to do is when they have you here is this. You're going to have help here. You don't have to hold them all the way to the rim. But he wasn't even doing that.
Yeah, and I think in my mind, you have to really break it down to, look, Luka, you only got to guard for 5 or 6 seconds. That's it. That's maybe 4 or 5 shuffles, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or you just take like the way they did with him. You just take like, okay, even if he's a shifty guard, you take all the way that shiftiness away. And like with the Spurs, if you're on the wing, they're icing and they're making you go that way. They're not letting you go back to the middle. Right? So you just pin them in and say, yeah, you can do all that shiftiness you want, but you're going this way or you're going that way. You can make it easier on yourself.
Right. And you know what, just going back like maybe a few years ago, Steph Curry had that label.
Yeah.
And when they were kind of dropping big games, people were really picking on him.
Right.
Even the Kyrie shot.
Yeah. And that now
who carried LeBron to the championship.
Look, we're gonna have to stop these subliminal little jabs at LeBron every episode, man. All you had to say was that he hit the shot.
I love LeBron. I do, man. I really do.
Yo, dog.
I'm just not in love with it.
Hey, you messing with our ratings, man. They're going to be like, I don't know what he say. Yo, man, you need to get that dude out there talking bad about LeBron.
No, man. LeBron is great. Smartest player ever.
But to that shot, honestly, Kyrie hitting that shot on anybody.
Absolutely.
Because he hit a shot on Clay the following year in Christmas that was almost identical, and it was like, and you've seen him hit over long defenders. So
no question.
But
he's a tough coach.
To Steph's credit, Steph tries to play defense, and now Steph is not a liability.
He's not.
They're not. They try to hunt him.
It doesn't work.
But he is defending.
Right. And the thing that he did, from how I view it, is he really got stronger.
Yes.
He's built up his body.
Yes.
If you really look, he's built up his body.
Yes.
He's gotten stronger. And so I think with Luka has just really get in shape. The yo-yos and the donuts. And
the hookah.
And the hookah and the beer that he's drinking at halftime. Stop.
Hey.
I mean, he's got to dedicate his body.
Man,
he really does.
Look, I'm gonna tell you. Look, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and bring in. I'm a segue.
Sure.
I wasn't going to, but I'm a segue because you just said what he needed to do. I've always been a big believer in, after a certain amount of years playing, you are who you are.
Okay.
You're not going to drastically change your game. So, Luka is who he is when it comes to playing defense. He's not. What is this? His 5th, 6th year?
You got me on that.
Like 5th or 6th year.
It's got to be 5th or 6th.
Probably 5th or 6th year.
It's not 4th for sure.
No, 5th or 6th year. He's played in the league. His defense hadn't gotten any better. Now, when you look at Steph was trying to play defense. So you knew that he was going to try to get a little bit better. There were certain guys everybody has problems with, and if you're a guard, you're gonna guard other people with nasty handles, right?
Absolutely.
So, but he got better as he continued to play. Luka, he's been in the years 5. Like I don't even want to hear everything that you just said, because he's. If making it to the championship, and I believe he actually said it after losing in the finals, that he needs to get in better shape because the finals was hard. So he needed to do more to be ready for championship, type of run. If that didn't get you your attention to play and get your mind and body right, ain't nothing gonna do it.
Not to excuse Luka, but I mean, he's been playing in big games since he's 15, 16 years old.
So that's it.
So, but
that's
hold on.
worse.
Let me get there. With saying that, I don't think he's ever been held accountable.
That is absolutely
He is like
true.
this
Yes.
generation.
Yes.
They don't, accountability does not exist.
Yeah, you're
There's
100%
always
right.
an excuse.
Yeah.
And in their mind, it absolves me from being accountable because I have a ready-made excuse.
Right. Now, I'm so glad that you said that, because in Dallas, if he was to never make it to another championship again, in the finals again, right, they would always love him.
Absolutely.
They would always love him. But see, you made the mistake of getting traded to the one team that ain't having that.
Expectations are high. Buddy.
And now those people who were loving him have already started to have grumblings about the stuff that he wasn't doing, that you already knew. Yeah. Y'all already knew he wasn't playing defense, but you were so excited about him being on your team, you forgot about it until you saw it again in the playoffs.
His
right?
deficiencies are glaring.
Right. So
very glaring.
How many more seasons, I don't know about next year. I don't know who they can get, because to me, philosophically, they're going to need they can't, I don't think you can close games with all three of them. Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves on the floor.
Okay.
Because in regular season games, maybe. But in the playoffs, you can't, because they're going to tilt the floor and attack one of those three. And if you're attacking them where one of them's on that side, you got problems. You attacking Austin Reeves and Luka's in help, it's not going to happen.
Accountability.
Right.
I believe Austin Reeves is gonna get better.
I think he can.
He's gonna force himself to get better.
He had a tough series too, boy.
But I'll say this: when one person is so bad, it pulls weight on everybody, and it literally makes everyone look bad.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And you can't say anything because he's the franchise. You really. So is JJ Redick going to hold him accountable?
Well, JJ did make a statement about, as a team, we need to be in championship shape. He made that comment last night or today, and people were like, oh, is he talking about Luka? He's like, no, it's like that's the only person he could be talking about, because everybody else, was
been there.
Yeah, been there and seemed like they was in shape. What do you think about what I was saying about after 4 years, you are who you are? Because if I use a football analogy, and I say, Jared Goff, you're not going to see anything more than what he is. He's not going to be a Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes type thrower this coming year. He's going to work on his game to be that type of player and add that to his game.
I mean, I really don't like that example, because football, you add a piece or two and you can make somebody look amazing. To me, football is about the pieces around you.
Yeah, but
you're talking about his athleticism.
No, I'm just talking about with him.
I understand.
Because if you look at Goff in the big games, he hasn't played well and he's thrown bad interceptions.
True.
And this as great as they were being, this
Especially
season, that last game was terrible.
That was bad.
So it's but he was like that the year before. He was like that the few years with the Rams getting into the Super Bowl. He was bad, right? So it's that's who. Now, I hate to say it, but it's what do you work on? And there's some players, some people that you just know that, man, that's who they are. They're not gonna be better. They're not gonna work to get better to where they can put themselves in those pressure situations and not make those throws.
Well, I mean, I think you have a great point, but I really think you have to. I think it's possible to, my opinion, especially at that level, small gains create big results. at that level. So I think there's way. I think it depends on your makeup. To be honest, I really do. Now, can you go from being a standstill shooter to Kyrie? Absolutely not. But I think there are certain nuances of the game that you can really improve on.
Yeah, you can
Ray
improve.
Allen.
You can improve.
Just take Ray Allen. Ray Allen wasn't really a shooter like that.
Right.
Ray Allen played like a more so a Kobe. He was shifty.
Yeah, he was kind of Kobe.
Yeah.
Grant Hill, like with D-Wade.
Grant Hill's a better. D Wade's a good one as well. And so he's like, look, I got to change who I am, right? So he changed who he was. So
right.
It really depends, on you. But I just feel like in the 4 years, if you refuse to change those habits, you're not going to be the same. And there was a reel that I saw on the shooter for the Golden State Warriors.
Clay
came from Sacramento. He's on.
Buddy Hill.
Buddy Hill. So they said Sacramento was fighting with him and really encouraging him not to dribble. They had the data, and the data said his catch and shoot threes were at 85% clip. Every time he took a dribble and shot it, either hand, it was 11%. He continued to try and dribble. And so I'm listening to that and I'm like, wow. And so I hear Draymond, and no, it wasn't even Draymond, it was my man, what's his name?
The coach?
No, the new guy they got.
Jimmy Butler?
Butler.
Uh-huh.
Butler said, Buddy Hill, you need to listen. Stop dribbling. What are you dribbling for? Sure enough, in the playoffs, he dribbled again. Big boy from Australia, from Houston, stripped him, went for a layup. Mm-hmm. So I say that to say this. You got to know who you are.
Yeah.
You have to know who you are.
Once the season is, you got to know. But there is nobody that's going to tell me that if you put in the time to be specifically to work on either pump fakes, because everybody's coming for your shot, pump fake, 1 or 2 dribble, pull up jump shot, you can work on just that thing the whole summer. And now when the season comes, you add that, because everybody says, well, I don't want you doing that. Mm-hmm. But once you start, like Cody, is it Cody or Kobe White for the Bulls?
Kobe White
for the Bulls. They kept telling him, you don't shoot mid-range shots. You only have to shoot threes. Mm-hmm. But that was his game.
Right.
You're going to miss them. That's a low percentage, all that analytical bullshit, right? He worked to get his shot better, and he was getting pump fake 1 and 2 dribble pull-up jump shots, mid-range. Now you're making them. Now nobody's saying anything, and that opens up everything else because people worried about you going by him. So I'm not saying Buddy Hill needs to have, because I've seen him a couple of those games when he got hot, he was driving to the basket as well, right? I just think that you should be able. I was talking to L earlier, like I don't understand how when you're a professional, this is your job, you're paid to do this. This is the only thing you do.
Right.
Rudy Gobert, you can't work on a 2 or 3 dribble post move to where you can be. I'm not saying you got to score 30 points every game, but you can't be a threat, because if you're a threat, that keeps you on the floor. Imagine if they was doing that to Shaq. Imagine, we're gonna run him off screens and we're gonna switch and make him come out. Shaq played pretty good defense out on the perimeter. Okay, all right, but you know what? When you come back down, he's gonna punish you down low.
Right. I mean, that's a great point. Again, it's who you are. I don't see Buddy Hill as ever getting a 1 dribble pull up and being super consistent. Now I see him going to the rim.
So you saying you don't see that? That's different than saying so you're saying he couldn't work on that for a whole entire summer and then add that? It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be, hey, whenever I catch it over here, I'm coming on the right side of the wing. Once I catch it, they close out. I'm working on a 1 dribble pull up jump shot. You mean to tell me he couldn't work on that?
Either he's super ignorant.
No. I'm saying you. I mean,
I
the
see
fact
what you're
that he
saying.
hasn't.
I see what you're saying.
But I'm saying you saying that he
I
can't.
see what you're saying.
If he did that, if he put in the time. Now, again, I don't know what they doing.
Right.
But I do hear all the time. Look, this is what I get paid to do. But you think about it. Let's use J.J. Redick for example. Excellent 3-point shooter coming off screens and stuff, catch and shoot. He even had, I think, maybe a 1 dribble pull, but that was it.
He changed his game.
No counter moves.
Yeah.
They ran a play for him at the end of the game in the playoff series. They were all over that. What you got? Now, Jay, you ain't getting that shot. Where your handles at? He couldn't do anything.
But he did add a one dribble.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Add
and it helped them because it expanded how they played him. But then once they caught up to that.
Yeah.
What else do you have? So
right.
I'm a big believer in that. You man, like that's like me being a trainer.
You have to expand your game.
Not working on different stuff to help kids get better. Like, oh, I don't know how to do that.
Right. Yeah, I always advise players, college, high school, don't show anybody what you can't do.
Yeah.
And I think that's his biggest problem.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into culture, but he is from the Bahamas. They tend to be slightly stubborn. Okay?
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah.
Now we're having international incidents now.
Man, I know a few. I know a couple. But maybe that's him.
LeBron not from the Bahamas, is he?
He's from another world. LeBron from another world.
LeBron is from the Bahamas.
LeBron has every right to be stubborn. He has proven it.
All right, so look. Let's get into this Jonathan Kuminga situation. Look. At one point, I've always liked Steve Kerr. I was really high on him. I felt when they won that championship with Steph, the last one they won, I said, here we go again, because you got the strength in numbers. You have these young pieces, these young kids that have contributed. They're going to be able to make a run. You got the big kid, Wiseman, but he was hurt. They won it without him, right?
Yeah.
Then the next season comes, and it's like they take a back seat. He stops playing these guys. This year with Kuminga, it's almost high school the way he's doing them.
Yeah, it's really bad. And again, I don't know all the intricate details to it, but I do know there's that gray area where you have to let some guy, you have to eat some mistakes on some guys to allow that growth.
Right.
And I know my AAU team probably gonna kill me for taking them out for turnover, but you're not in the NBA. But anyway, at the same time, I truly believe that they struggle developing. I really do.
You know what? Yeah, and that would make sense because they rely so heavily on, they like to, bring in more veterans so they don't have to develop. But you had a
KD,
gold mine. Yeah, you had a gold mine with Moody, Wiseman, Kuminga. That was going to be your next core coming
And then the guy
through.
they traded, the guard they traded.
Which one?
When they got punched, Draymond.
Oh yeah, Poole. Yeah, you had a lot of
That's
good.
a nice core.
Yeah,
It's a nice young core.
And then you get Brandon Podziemski. Brandon, I sure hope I didn't mess your name up, man.
He did.
But he's turned out to be good. But then you never know what he's going to do next year. He might.
Right.
I think it's time for him to go.
It might be.
I think
he needs more, but you got to be careful because Poole left and he looked absolutely bad.
Yeah, but come on, man. You couldn't put MJ with the Wizards and then they'd be good. You couldn't put anybody with that team. Well, hold on now, because LeBron took. They always talk about him taking that first Cleveland team.
That was amazing.
So maybe LeBron, but you're not gonna have much success with the Wizards.
But
right?
even just the way he played, though.
Yeah, but he got better. I think as the season went on, he started to not like he was killing, but he went from being really, really bad. I think he worked a little bit more on his maturity and control with how he handled the game, and I think he got better at
that
those.
Makes sense.
He got better at those things. But yeah, it's time for Kuminga to go. They got to let him go. If I'm him, I'm not staying. And I think it's time for Kerr to go.
Oh wow!
I think it's time because because it's like at some point your voice is just white noise.
Oh wow!
Right, and it's
even somebody with that kind of
there's a segment of people that don't give him as much credit because of the talent he had.
Oh no, man!
You think about if Mark Jackson's still there, do they still have four championships?
I think they do.
Yeah. So if Mark Jackson's there and they have 4, then is Kerr really that great of a coach? I think if I was to give him the credit, like the biggest credit would be the last championship. Because there's nobody who expected that for them to get where they got and win it all, right?
Yeah.
But then you take the other seasons where he was lacking with the talent and it was really bad. So it's like with all coaches, you got to have talent, right? Because if you don't, but you look at what was his name, Brown, with the Pistons. What was his name, Brown? When he was with Philly and AI. His name's I know Larry Brown. He could coach with what he had.
Right.
You know, so I don't know, man. It's like at some point you got to move on because, you know, they're not responding to you the way. But see, he's not one that yells a lot.
He doesn't.
He kind of has that Opie kind of what's going on.
Said Opie.
You know, but when he's doing it the way he does. And the only reason I said Opie because I remember an episode of that show. What was it? Leave it. It was not. Wouldn't leave it. It was Andy Griffith. Andy Griffith show. There was an episode I remember with Opie, and that. Oh yeah, I know I am. And that look that Opie had in that show looked a lot like the way Steve Kerr looks sometimes, right? So that's why I said, I was like, damn, that's the same look I looked at with Opie. But in any case, he has this look sometimes where he feels like he's just like, well, what's going on? What do you want me to do? And it's kind of cool, but I think at some point, you don't think, I'm not saying he's losing the locker room. I hadn't seen any of that, but I mean,
he's smart enough to let the veterans lead, which doesn't expose him as much.
Right, but what if Steph and Dre are a little mad about the fact that Kuminga's not getting enough? Because Kuminga could help them in all series. Kuminga could help them in this. Now, obviously, they're up.
Yeah.
But if they win, they got what's the name? They got Minnesota. And you can go small if you want.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a real problem.
You know, there was a lot of, in just reading different articles and listening to people talk, like there was a lot of rumblings, I'll say, about the lack of Steve Kerr's coaching ability. I know LeBron was on a hot mic. It didn't know it was hot mic and just said, you know, Steve Kerr's an idiot. He said Steve Kerr is an idiot for not playing, what's his name? Celtics.
Tatum. Oh yeah,
Tatum.
doing it. Yeah,
JT.
Like that. And then you gonna try to rationalize that by you bring in 2 other guys.
That was bad.
Like, come on, man.
That was bad.
Come on, man.
That was bad.
Yeah. So
I mean, he really messed. I think when he did that, it made people look at him even more.
Yeah.
And kind of really highlighted like his deficiencies.
Yeah.
And like players started looking at it.
They're like, yeah.
You had average Joe saying, "Hey man, we could have fit him in this 3-minute window here."
You ain't telling me that
he can
man
defend. He can shoot with the best.
That man is not. You can't get that man minutes.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Especially, and as much as I love Steph struggled mightily.
He did
until the
LeBron
last
held
few,
the fort
few
down.
rounds. Yeah, to the last few rounds, and then he went crazy. But it's like, come on, man. Yeah, so yeah, I think Kuminga. I think he needs to. I think they need to part. I don't know if,
No, go where? Because he still needs to develop.
Yeah. So, but what if you're saying, well, okay, we need to put him somewhere where he'll have time to develop. what team? Probably had to go east. Philly would be a nice place for him.
I would not send my dog to Philly, and I don't even have a dog. Okay, Philly is the most toxic environment in the history of the league. I say Miami.
Yeah, Miami. Well,
he could develop because they do develop players.
Yeah.
I mean, they have guys you hardly hear of that
but
play
then
well.
him getting on the floor would be hard because they got a multitude of guys in his.
Right.
Wiggins is over there. So,
but
we'll have to look at that. Maybe have to pick a list of different places they can go. So, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're back. We're about to get in our basketball ideology, but before we do, it's something we need to talk about. What's up with your boy Halliburton's dad, man? What's up with him, man? Look, for y'all that don't know, Tyrese Halliburton, who I've always loved as a guard. I think he's one of the top guards in the NBA. That's me. You don't think so?
I don't.
Okay, who's better than him?
I think it's highly overrated.
No. Who's better than Tyler Halliburton, point guard? Give me the five.
Give me the five.
Give me the
in
five.
League right now.
Right now.
I'd say, what's his name? I'd say, hold on, let me see. New York.
Okay, we'll say Brunson.
Brunson's better.
Okay, we could say Kyrie.
Absolutely.
Okay, we could say Steph.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
We can say, I'll be honest, I like Cade better than Halliburton.
You know what? Okay, I wouldn't fight you on that, but to me, I would say they're neck and neck. To me, I would say they're neck and neck. But let's just say Cade. So that's what we say, Steph, Kyrie, Cade. That's three. So that puts him at four. Brunson. Okay, so that puts him at five. Who's kicking him out of the top five?
I will take De'Aaron Fox as well over Halliburton all day.
That's
come on, man.
Okay, all right. So let's say we go that route.
Let's say I give it. Let's say he's top 10.
Oh well, he's definitely top 10. But I'm trying to. I forgot about De'Aaron Fox. But like, if you say Fox, then he's knocking on the door. I'm saying he could be 5. You could interchange him and Cade Cunningham as the 5, as the 5th best guard.
I like his length.
I know his decision making. He gets to the basket and everything.
His decision making is elite, but I'll say this. I'll tell you what's more elite. His decision making before the ball even gets in his hands.
Right.
Like that he's really elite.
So how you gonna say those two things are really elite and say he's overrated?
He is overrated.
What is he overrated with?
I think people have, he's more Albie Shurs to me. You know, he's pretty good. He's not. He's getting the pass, man.
Stop it, you with Albie Shurs.
He's Albie Shur to me, man.
Why everybody mad at Albie Shur, man?
I'm sorry, man.
Oh my God, everybody, you was grooving to Albie Shur back in the day.
No, I'm good. I skipped that. No, man.
I can't believe you brought him up. All right, let's get back on topic. Because we're going to have to table that for another day. Because that's more of a you to lost your damn mind.
For sure.
Then you're going to say he's elite in this, and he's elite, and he's really elite in this, but he's overrated.
Every guard in the league is elite.
No, not every guard.
Yeah.
No.
You don't get to the NBA not being elite.
You get to the. Let me come back to that.
Quick story. My dad cannot stand Austin Rivers. Could not stand him. So he was flying to an NBA game. He was going to see the Rockets and somebody else. So I said, Dad, Austin Rivers can play, because I watched him from high school all the way up. So anyway, long story short, he likes to go to the game early. And he's watching Austin Rivers. He calls me. I'm like, man, it's kind of early. I said, yeah, Dad, what's up? Man, this Austin Rivers is a bad boy. I said, man, how you go from not? He said, hey, look, this guy just knocked down 25 threes in a row. So those guys are elite. They really are.
Yeah, but once the game is going on, he wasn't as elite. He had the one little double cross move that he did. He was a good player. So
he's a serviceable player.
Okay, so you know what? Let me make sure I get this right. When I say that, I'm not saying he's trash, because you have to be elite to be in the league. That's obvious.
Right. But there's levels to it, is what you said.
But there are levels to it, yeah. So, but okay. So let's get back. Back. I can't believe you brought up Albie Shore, man.
Sorry, man.
I will go play that song as soon. I'm gonna have that music be on one of the podcasts when we come through.
That's
then
gonna be our lowest ratings ever, man.
We gonna play that. But yeah, okay. So for y'all that don't know, Tyrese Halliburton's dad was in the stands when they played Milwaukee. Yeah. When they won the game, when Indiana won the game to win the series, Giannis was standing at almost about the free throw line. It was just kind of like, I can't believe we lost. And he's just standing there. Halliburton's dad comes in front of him with his towel and his, like in his face with his towel, and then, few expletives, right?
Absolutely.
And it was disrespectful.
The league ought to be ashamed. The Indiana Pacers security ought to be ashamed.
Yeah, for letting them up.
That is disgustingly disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because had Antetokounmpo grabbed him and threw him into the third row, he would have been wrong.
Yeah.
As a parent, very similar to LeBron, when KD and Pierce were going for a loose ball and bumped him out of bounds, his mom jumped up and he said,
right.
Sit down. Sit down. Like, that was the best thing he ever did, because it kept the focus off of him.
Right.
Now everybody knows him for the wrong reasons. Now, and then people have gone back and said there have been a ton of complaints about him. Right. Talking trash to people in the stands about his son. Right.
Now, I did see something today. I have to verify, but I did get an alert that he's been banned from the games for the rest of the playoffs.
I saw that too. Which,
it's good, but it's like, I know it's some people like, about time, but it's like, you got, and it's like, that whole thing goes into the whole culture of a lot of parents today with their kids in middle school, elementary, city league, travel ball, high school.
Yeah.
So it's a really bad look. I don't see what he was going to get out of it, because, you got the Cavs next.
Yeah. I could see him going, moving on.
Hey,
he literally stayed there for at least 40 seconds.
Hey, we got you, my man, good game, something like that. But when you start cursing at him and stuff, and then, like, Tyrese didn't even know what was going on, but then when he was hugging his dad, his dad hugged him, and then he was looking back over him and said something to him as he was looking, and then Giannis eventually came up, and Giannis got in his face and was more aggressive with how he talked to him.
Right.
But he then at the end, he was like, all right, you take care, and he went on about his business.
Right.
And it was a bad look. It was a real bad look.
If you come up on the wrong guy, something bad's gonna happen.
That's what happened to Malice at the Palace, boy. You saw that dude come out of the stands thinking that he was go connect and got laid out, and then his boy behind him was like, oh yeah, okay, all right now.
Listen.
Hey, all right, so we're gonna get on to our basketball ideology. I can't, man. I got Albie Shore in my head right now. I got Albie Shore in my head.
True,
it's gonna make me.
Every time you see him now,
I'm gonna have to play it, because I got the song in my head. The one song that I was like, oh yeah, he trying to take somebody's girl with that song. All right, so let's talk about the UIL and the shot clock. UIL put out. It was sounding like it was more of an informational, like text or message to get feedback on what people thought about doing the shot clock. I believe I have a coach who I talk to a lot. I believe Oklahoma has decided to institute the shot clock in their high school.
There are, I don't, and forgive me, I don't know all the states, but there's a few states already that have been doing it for years. Texas, I think they're just kind of teasing the people, doing a survey, just to kind of say, hey, we thought about it. You can make the numbers look like whatever you want to, and people don't want it. And the majority of coaches in Texas don't want it because you'll have to change your coaching style.
Yeah,
you have to change your coaching style. You won't be able to.
Yeah, you can't hold the ball. You can't hold the ball.
Shot clock. Me myself, it was a huge experience for me. My first time in San Diego in 2014. We're in San Diego and they had a shot clock. And I was like, what is the big deal? Your whole strategy gets thrown out of the window.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many shot clock violations we had the first game. And then I adjusted. But if you're down 8 in 3 minutes or 2 minutes, you still can win the game.
You got a lot of time.
Ton of time.
Was yours 24, 30, or 45?
It was 30.
It was 30?
It was 30.
Yeah, and it's like what you have to, you try to explain it to people is it speeds everything up. You can't take your full 10 seconds to get across half court.
No, sir.
Now you only got 14 seconds to run your play.
Yes, sir.
And if I disrupt your play, you're used to cycling. That stuff ain't gonna happen. So I know there's a segment of coaches that don't want it because
a large segment of coaches, especially in those small towns, who love to, it looks amazing for them to swing that ball around 40 times. There are some high school programs that will never make the playoffs again if they put in the shot clock.
I would
guarantee.
I wonder if we could put. I know we can't put it, but I would be interested in seeing how many El Paso coaches would be in favor of the shot clock, because a lot of the schools here do that, where it's a lot of ball movement, it's a lot of cycle, pass, and hold the ball and stuff.
If the shot clock came to Texas, forgive me, the core of me as a high school coach, a fourth of them would be fired on the spot, or would probably get out because we're so stuck in our ways, so to speak. And I was that guy too.
Yeah.
I was that guy too. I had to learn and force myself to not necessarily change, just adapt. Adapt. Adaptability. Like we ask the kids to adapt.
Yeah.
So now I think there are some coaches that would be fine and adjust well and would be highly successful. And I do feel like there's some coaches that will really take that next jump. But there's some that would probably think about getting out the game.
I think it's the next logical step, because everything that's happened in the sport in the last 5 or 10 years has been progressive. With training, all the online stuff that you can do, all the stuff that's available to you. Mm-hmm. Kids are, I would say, typically kids are highly skilled as far as being able, to handle the ball, to shoot.
Right.
They don't always know how to translate that in the actual games.
That's true.
But I would say, speeding the game up would probably help a lot of kids as well.
Well, I tell you who it would really be hard for in this town is officials. Because you're going to have to focus on, the shot clock, how much time is on the clock. I mean,
but usually when they do that, they train all three, but I'm assuming one official is the one that has to make sure that they're keeping tabs on the shot clock.
I'm telling I know a lot of officials here. It would be a really, really huge adjustment, being the fact that we're short of officials. So I think their training piece would have to really level up.
Yeah, but
and I don't want to be a part of it. I would never be an official. I would be the worst official in the history of officiating.
You probably be throwing people out all the time.
Absolutely, you have to.
You be throwing everybody out.
And you get attacked.
And you get attacked. And you get attacked. What's your last name, Coach James? Oh yeah, you already out. I'm not even gonna let you start the game, man. You better change your last name. Yeah, they gonna be calling one coach name is Coach Jordan, and you let him get everything.
Don't do me like that, man. I love LeBron. I love LeBron, man.
Well, I hope they. I hope they.
Sure.
I would like for them to institute it. I would like for it to be to where if they say they're going to do it, if it's passed, they give it maybe a year. Because you got to go through education. Like they can't pass it now and say, "Hey, it's going to start in October." That's not enough time. If they pass it, I would say year 2026 would be a good because you get enough. 27? Yeah, 26, 27. You get enough time to everybody gets a chance to adjust. And if you can't adjust, then it's you fall down by the wayside.
Then the funding too.
What do you mean?
It's going to be expensive.
Oh, well, we got money. We got money for all this other stuff. So there's money. There's going to be money to be out there. Yeah, you can get it funded.
Would you have them on the bottom?
No, you'd have to have them up top. You'd have to have them up top.
Okay.
Because you're. I mean, look at it. You think about the NBA and college.
Right.
It just makes more sense. Like having it when they used to have it on the side and stuff. Like think about it. If you get the ball over here, and you can't see that shot clock all the way over there. And let's say they got shot clocks on both ends. Let's say you get the ball at the top. There are people in between. You can't see what that shot clock is saying.
Yeah. And the only school right now in this town is Socorro.
They
have it already.
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
Yeah, so they have to be. I mean, maybe.
Adjustment.
Yeah, it takes some adjustment, but we adjust to everything.
That's true.
So, all right, let's move on to the next thing, and I'm gonna let you. This is something you want to talk about, so I'm gonna let you talk about it. It's what does betting on yourself look like?
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about a lot. I hear it a lot, and for everybody it's different. And I just want to kind of ask you, like, what does betting on yourself mean to you as far as maybe from high school to college, maybe from not playing to playing in college, like what does that mean to you?
I actually thought it was gonna be you were gonna be talking about. I didn't know you was gonna ask me a question.
Of course, man.
All right. Well, I feel like betting on yourself is just meaning that. You keep that confidence and that level of accountability for yourself that you're going to be ready when the time comes. I mean, when you say maybe you don't play as much in high school, but then you go to college and you're playing, I know a lot of college coaches, and I'm sure you do as well, that don't think a lot of high school coaches know what the hell they're doing, right? So they will not understand why some players aren't playing, and it's like, well, look, he could help me out really well, right? Because I got the personnel and the flow to make him, be a really good player on our team. Yeah. So you have to bet on yourself because, I mean, in high school, you think about there are some kids who during the summer in their city and AAU team, they look like Division I prospects.
For sure.
But then they go on their high school team and they're barely hitting the floor, right? Is that the kid or is it the coach? So you got to bet on yourself. And no, I've actually told some kids sometimes, like, look, you're not going to get much run in high school with the way your coach is. Your coach is that's just the way your coach is. So if you're wanting to have an opportunity to play past high school, you're going to have to do it during the summer in either individual showcases or on some college ID camps or on a travel AAU exposure team.
Right. I mean, for me, I've only reason why I bring it up because a young lady that was in our organization, it was probably the best example of betting on yourself. She's from Midland, Texas. I'm going to say her name, Addie Dunn.
Addie
Dunn. her goal from day one was to play Division I basketball. There were many people that saw her as a Division II that never even thought about her as a Division I basketball player.
Right.
She continued to work. She had no Division I offers when school basketball started. She said, I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I'm going to focus on my high school basketball, which is most kids will not do that at all. So she's a very, very spiritual family. And so mom, who kind of helped her manage all these things, Ashley Dunn, who was a Division I track athlete at Texas Tech, kind of really guided her as well. And then we always had conversations about where do you think she is? I said, it doesn't matter. It's what she needs to do.
Right.
You know, that's kind of my thought. Well, this young lady ended up signing a Division I scholarship to Northern Arizona.
Cool.
Then when she signed or committed to that scholarship, the coach left to Santa Clara.
Oh.
So everybody's like, oh, not gonna happen. Not, you know, she just went on faith. She went on faith and believed who she was or who she is, her approach, and everything about it. I mean, she traveled all over to visit different Division I's on her own dime. She did multiple visits, and like she just, I don't want to say she understood the process. She knew of the process, but betting on herself was more important than the process.
Right.
And so now she did everything possible. She wasn't laying on the couch. This young lady was working in the gym, you know, 2 or 3 times a day with her trainer. And so, Addie, I've never said this to you before, but you are the best example I've ever seen or ever heard of as far as betting on yourself. Lastly, the coach that came in said, hey, you're not going anywhere. I love what you're about. So, I mean, she's getting prepared for this coming season.
Nice.
And, I mean, it's just a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And a beautiful, she had the greatest understanding, but the biggest piece was she had that faith.
Yeah. You gotta bet on yourself even when others aren't, you know, because it's one of those situations sometimes where, you know, it's like, you ever seen the movies where we know that the person is innocent,
Right.
but everybody else thinks the person's guilty, but we know the person's innocent because we're watching the movie, and that person has to prove their innocence. And then at the end, usually is when it comes out, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, you know what? You were right. You were innocent and stuff." It's kind of like that. You sometimes got to just have that feeling that I'm not gonna fail. Absolutely. You know, I'm going to push through. So shout out, Miss Lady, doing your thing.
Addie Dunn, Midland Classical.
Nice. So, well, hopefully we'll be able to see her on the TV at some point.
Oh, you definitely gonna see her.
All right. Sure. Okay.
I believe that.
All right. Okay. So now we're gonna move on to You Done Lost Your Damn Mind. Now we've had some epic battles. You done lost your damn mind. But I think today we're gonna. And look, here's the thing that I love about it. We don't ever talk about what we're going to discuss. I mean, we have the topic, but I don't ask him about it. He don't ask me about it. I like for it to just be like, huh? Because I'm waiting to say, man, you lost your damn mind. So today's subject, the best dunk you have ever seen. Okay, so if we're gonna argue about it, which one are you looking at?
Okay, I have 2.
Oh, there you go.
Give me a second, man. This is gonna make a lot of sense.
Okay.
One I've seen live, okay, and one I've seen just on TV.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and there's been a few. I can name Sean Kemp. I can name Tom Chambers had one, but for me it was Vince Carter in the Olympics when he jumped over the 7'3" guy. 7'3" guy, and there's no way anyone thought he was gonna make this dunk. And I mean, he cleared him, didn't push off, like he didn't even know what he had done.
Yeah.
That was one of the better dunks I have ever seen.
Yeah, I really like that dunk. I really like that dunk. For me, I'm gonna go. Now, when we say best dunk, are we talking like in game against somebody? Or are we talking about slam dunk contests or what?
Oh, I was thinking in game.
Okay, all right. So we'll keep it there in game. I would, because I was going another place, but I was like, you know what? That wasn't a dunk he did. I was going to go MJ, but that was actually a layup. And I might actually say that layup was better than that dunk because he jumped from that side.
Which one?
I can't remember who it was again, but he was coming down this way, and he went up. He went here. He went here. And then he just flicked it there, and I was like, man, that was bad. Okay, but
Detroit Pistons.
Let me. I keep coming back. I know there's probably more, but off the top of my head, I didn't want to think too long about it. The Scottie Pippen dunk on Patrick Ewing.
Oh, that was nasty.
that was so disrespectful, man. Not only did he dunk on him, but as he was going back, he was falling. And Pippen just kind of helped him out, pushed him, kind of wiggled up on him. And wiggled up on him as he pushed him and then kind of stood over him. Yeah, man, that's a fight.
That was unreal. Also, the Clippers lob, that was bad too.
The DeAndre Jordan one?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
That was bad.
LeBron had, I think, the one LeBron had on
Jason Terry.
Yes.
Oh, my. Oh, the lob. Oh, my. That was, yeah. No, I cannot argue on that one. That Scottie Pippen one was.
Yeah, it was
incredible.
It was just, it was just. I mean, the funny thing about the Vince Carter dunk, it wasn't that special to me.
I tell you what made it special for me is he had 2 steps.
Right.
He stole the ball, took one bounce, two steps, and cleared.
But I guess the reason why it wasn't. I mean, look, it was a great dunk, but like to compare to that is when he jumped, the guy started to move back this way. Like he wasn't standing straight, tall, without leaning.
Because he thought it was going to be a charge.
I know, but he was starting to move back, and that made it. So he didn't jump 7 feet. He probably jumped like 6 feet. Because by the time he was over him, he was laying back.
Okay, you need to review that again.
I mean, it was a nasty dunk. I ain't gonna say that, but I guess it's weird. It's like I look at that dunk and I was like, man, that was nasty. But I don't know. Maybe I've seen other dunks that Vince has done.
Oh, he's got some highlights.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
Since we're on best dunks, who was the best in-game dunker?
My opinion, I'm going to say it would be a tough toss.
There he goes.
Between
1 or 2.
Between Dominique Wilkins and Sean Kemp.
Oh, hell no. Now you done lost your damn mind. Jordan was the best in-game dunker. In-game, here's what, okay, maybe I need to specify what I'm saying. I'm not talking fast break and stuff. I'm talking about when you get the ball, you make your move. Jordan weaved through traffic and went up and dunked on a lot of people. It wasn't a lot of, I'm going to catch you here, I'm going to pump fake or jab, you move, I'm going to take one dribble, and I'm going up and there's nobody there to contest it. I'm talking about I'm going to pump fake, I'm going to make a jab this way, I'm going to dribble here, cross over here, I'm going to spin move, turn around and jump up, and I'm going to dunk on 2 or 3 people.
Man, Dominique Wilkins by far.
Oh,
It's not even close.
Yeah, hell no. You
It's
done lost
not
your
even
mind.
close.
You done lost your mind, dog.
Dominique will jump. Somebody will try to jump and block it. He will turn
Dominique
in the
didn't
air.
have the handles to maneuver through traffic.
Because he was a
A straight
guy.
He was a straight line. A straight line. But I'm saying the fact that MJ would go here, dribble, crossover, bounce up on 2 or 3 people. And you an MJ fan.
I'm just telling you.
Dog, I'm pulling your MJ card.
Hey,
Yo,
Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp.
Sean didn't have those handles like that. Like that.
Oh my goodness, you missing it, man. You missing it.
Sean
Now,
didn't hit you with more than he
the
might have a
best-
counter move.
The best dunk I've seen Jordan do, in my opinion, to me, was the one where he was going baseline.
On
chose to
Knicks.
go to, yes. Oh, that was incredible. That was.
Yeah, that was nasty.
He tiptoed on the sideline. Then, I mean, that was nice. But man, you need to watch more Dominique highlights.
I'm old enough to say that I watched a lot. And most of the Dominique's highlights were he would catch, either he's catching it off the rim and dunking.
I'm not talking about off the rim.
He's coming down on a fast break, or maybe he got the ball, made a sweep move, one dribble, and he go up high and dunk. But
As
I ain't.
explosive Dominique was? You talking about Jordan?
I'm talking about the fact that you had him. I'm talking about the weaving through traffic type stuff, where you had to have two counter moves, and then he's up and he's dunking. Mike had more of those than anybody. Vince didn't have those kind of boom, 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 in and out. Boom. Look at how they were going. They were either straight line drives. It might have been one counter move and then up. Not a lot of people had more than one counter move. All right, look, I won that battle. He lost his damn mind talking about Dominique. With Dominique dribbling the ball like this.
In the comments. Put it in the comments.
We're gonna put it up poll.
Hey, in the comments, YouTube Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah.
In-game dunks.
This is how Dominique Wilkins was dribbling.
And we'll see whose elevator don't go all the way up.
He was going like this. Cause back then, they only dribble with one hand. They only dribble with one.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something.
No, he could get up. I ain't talking about the fact he had some very and he always dunked like he was. He dunked like he was mad at the goal, like the goal had stole something from him, or the goal had tried to talk to his girl or something. Yeah. You know, he was trying to pull it off the damn backboard when he dunked.
Sure.
Like, damn man, why you dunking that hard? You got some problems, man. But yeah, he didn't have no. I ain't never seen Dominique go pump fake. Jab left, 2 dribbles right between the legs, one dribble behind the back.
Clyde Drexler.
Lord, Clyde Drexler definitely wasn't.
Come on, man.
With the cut.
Well, okay. The best dunk I've ever seen live in my life was in college. Okay, we're playing Purdue, and there's a gentleman by the name of Glenn Robinson.
Okay.
That we're playing against. So I am sitting in seat 6. Actually 8. So ball comes off the rim. Our big jumps up to grab the ball. Our big grabs the ball. Mind you, Glenn Robinson had skills like a guard, but he was 6'10". Like unreal.
Big dog.
Unreal. Never said a word the whole game. So he jumps up, probably in between free throw line to dotted line, jumps up, takes the ball out of our big's hand, and slams it. So a couple of our guys are all excited. I'm like, hey man, you can't be cheering for him. Well, sure enough, he circles by our bench, and two of my teammates were looking at him in his eyes. I wouldn't look at him. I looked away like it never happened. I knew better because I knew what was coming. He said, "Do you know who I am? I am Glenn M. Robinson." And they were just still staring at him like he had him in a trance. Man, I talked about them so bad. But this guy Well, I didn't know he could do that.
Yeah.
But this guy, he was they called him the big dog for a reason.
Yeah.
Man, I have never seen anybody take it out somebody's hand midair and then dunk it. I mean, it was fantastic. But I never gave him his props for that, Glenn. That was nice. I was looking away.
We got to find a video of that game, and then see if we can see you on the sideline looking away.
Oh my, I'm looking away. I promise you. Okay, now I did see it, but I'm looking away.
All right, well, we're gonna end with that. We want to make sure that you hit us in the comments what you say. I already know who won the best dunk. I know I won the best dunk, but then we took it a step further on who had the best dunks in game, and I already know I won that. Dominique ain't messing with MJ with that, man. I ain't trying to hear that. So
America, the world, please talk to this guy. Basketball world, talk to this guy.
You gonna listen to a dude like me, or you gonna listen to a dude like him who bring up I'll be sure?
Hey, listen.
I'll be sure gonna be coming. Hey, man, I don't appreciate you. What you try to say, man? Like, look, Al, I had a girl back in the day that she was in the trance, like what he was talking about when you was singing that damn song. I had to get rid of it.
Hey, I bet his streams go up. I bet his streams go up. Al, I need my check.
Hey, so look, like, follow, subscribe, comment, everything. Keep engaged. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
And we gonna end it like we always do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Absolutely.
We out.
Peace.
You said I'll be sure. I'm gonna go home and say that.
Street cred sports.